Jest.
So Stefan claims that Destiny came later after he left, and Stefan left Graal Online somewhere about after 2014, right? The year 2014. So here we have Stefan lying on Avalonia, claiming that he had nothing to do with Destiny and it came after he left. Well, if you go back to the records on archive.org and on graalonline.com, you will see that Destiny was released on Graal Classic on July 4th, 2000. And here's a screenshot of Stefan at the opening ceremony on graalonline.com. Here he is lying, claiming he had nothing to do with it. And here he is in the year 2000 on July 4th, celebrating Destiny. Keep that in mind. Destiny was launched on July 4th. I will read to you the news posts that I posted on July 3rd, 2000, and July 5th, 2000, the day before and the day after Destiny was being launched. And you will see that these tell a much different narrative than some kid who had been an admin for a long time and making levels for Graal Classic because Galen and Unixmad asked him to. You will see that this is untrue. That none of this is fucking true. That they stole my actual independent games. I will prove to you that they are lying here. These news posts are on archive.org. These screenshots are on graalonline.com, which you can also find on archive.org. You can see here, I quit. I'm not even a part of this community anymore because they told me, they won't host my game for me for free, and they started smearing my name everywhere. So if I quit, and I said I almost made it completely away, but Lauren gave me something to come back for, and there's all this talk about Destiny being put on the main map, how the fuck would that possibly happen? How would that possibly happen? And they're like, oh, well, maybe you made it and you gave it to them and then quit. That doesn't make any sense. Who would make something, donate it, and then disappear? You can see I'm trying to leave the community because I'm traumatized. What's happening is fucking hurting me. It's hurting me. This wasn't planned out by me. This wasn't some big fucking ordeal where I was admin on their server. And I'll prove to you that I wasn't an admin on Graal because it says here, I am now the GFX admin. I was never an admin who made Destiny for Unixmad. Do you understand that? They made me an admin after they stole my stuff so that they could pretend like it was donated. It wasn't donated. You can see here that they're taking Destiny from me on these lies. And then they say, oh, well, don't go away. We still need you to help us, get your game over into our world, because they don't know anything about it. I'm the only one who knows how Destiny's made and everything that's in it. So they're like, we'll make you the GFX admin, and then you can help you can help us. Please don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. So I'm like, well, okay, whatever. They're already taking Destiny and putting it into the main map. And I said, well, you can see I'm trying to get away from this. I said, I'm leaving. I almost made it completely away. Please don't ask to be on my message or ICQ list. I'm trying to get into cartoons and things like that. So, they're converting Destiny into a quote unquote continent. And Glodica is on the map because it was supposed to be a part of Destiny, and they shut it down before that could happen. So it's on the map, but it never got released from the main server because I ended up just they started stealing more games from me and it got distracted. So you can see here, I'm leaving. I'm not a part of this community anymore. They stole my fucking game. And they're saying, oh, but, we're going to make you the GFX admin. if I was an admin who made Destiny for Unixmad as an admin, and even if I was, that still doesn't make it legal. If I was an admin, Unixmad and Stefan's and Galen's little worker, who made a game for them under their command, then why was I quitting? Why was Destiny its own world? And then why was I quitting and leaving the community? At the same time, I said, okay, well, I guess I'm an admin now, so maybe I'll come back and see if things change. So if I'm being made an admin after Destiny was already made, then all these lies about people saying, oh, I was just an admin who made Destiny for them. How am I being made an admin after Destiny was already made? Do you see how this is all like, do you see how like deep these lies are in Graal? Like people are saying I was just Unixmad and Stefan and Galen's little fucking admin and I just made stuff for them. I was made an admin after I had already finished Destiny. Because you'll see, this happened July 3rd, that in July 4th, I helped them celebrate, quote unquote, putting Destiny into the main server. Now, they're saying, well, see, you enjoyed it. If I enjoyed it, then why the day before, July 3rd, was it made very clear that I had quit? Why would I have quit the community if I wanted them to take Destiny from me? July 5th, right? On July 5th in the news posts, you can see that Destiny had been moved over. But going back to July 3rd, you can see that I had already quit. I had already quit. And people saying Glotica wasn't part of Destiny, obviously it fucking was. Because it says right there it's part of Destiny. And why was it never released? And it was never released because they stole my stuff. And they couldn't take Glotica 2 because I had never uploaded the files. They don't own Destiny. They're lying. That's not how copyright works. You don't own property when it's uploaded through FTP. That's not how it works. But they told me that's what was happening. So if I was an admin who made Destiny for them, then why does it say here on July 3rd, the day before Destiny's being moved over to the main server, that I had quit the game, my own game, that I had quit the community, and I'm leaving? And why would I do that if I wasn't being preyed upon? One of the reasons I was leaving is because they were framing me. Destiny was not a player world. They were calling it a player world. And it's not. It's a separate game that I made for myself and I was hosting on a G server application. They discontinued that software and they're not telling you about it. But you can go into the archives of Graal and see that there was a program called G server where you could host your games without Unixmad. You could host your own games. They started hosting my game for free on Unixmad's experimental hosting. And then lying to me because I was 13 and telling me that my game now belongs to them. And threatening me. They were threatening me. So I shut up and I didn't do anything about it. I couldn't do anything about it. I was 13. And so they're framing me. I was telling other players that I was going to jail them because what they were doing was they were taking items from my world and exploiting a glitch where they could bring them through the portal into the other server. And that was illegal. It was cheating. It was cheating. So I was doing what I was supposed to do, which was telling them I'm going to jail you if you do not get off of this item that is not a part of this server. This is part of Destiny, which is a separate server. It's a separate game. But there was a glitch at the time where you could bring horses through portals that would take you from one server to the other. This was way before what you're seeing now. This is in the year 2000. So there were glitches. This was the first time. Destiny is supposedly the first player world. It's not a player world. It was my game. I'm not a player. I'm a creator. This is my game. So they started taking my files, referring to it as a player world, claiming Unixmad owned it. And then when I would try to jail players and I gave them warnings. Like this is me giving them a warning in this screenshot, right? Telling you, if you're taking items from my server to the other server, you are cheating and you are breaking the game. Get off the item, get rid of it, or I'll jail you. So this is not me being corrupt. This is me being a really, really, really good admin on my server, telling them, do not exploit the glitch in the game where you're taking horses from my game server. This is the Destiny horse. You can look up the graphics name. It's the Antago Destiny horse. It was part of my game. This was not part of Unixmad's Graal Classic server. It never was. It never was. Never. It never was. Maybe it was later when they stole my stuff, but at this time, these were two separate games, and I told them, you cannot take my horse from my server and exploit a glitch and cheat and take it to the other game. You are breaking the rules. Get off the horse, or you will be jailed. This is not me being corrupt. Being corrupt would be saying, you're going to fucking jail, you asshole. You know, that's not even being corrupt. I'm allowed to do that. But I was merciful. I said, hey, I'm giving you the opportunity to stop breaking the rules and stop cheating. Get off this item that does not belong on this server, or else I will have to take administrative action against you, because I have my own administrative action from my own server. At this time, it's like things were very, very blended because this was a very experimental hosting project. So anyway, so there's all this framing going on, and I'm getting angry because Galen and Unixmad are spreading this rumor that I'm corrupt and that I'm not allowed to do this, even though this is 100% what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to stop players from cheating. They were taking items from my world to the other world. And you can see on old websites that you could get through my world through a little link in the back of my house. There was a portal that took you to a separate world where you had a separate account on my server. Players were exploiting the glitch, and they were taking items between worlds. And this is 100% a glitch. It was 100% cheating, and I was warning them, stop doing this, get rid of the item, or you'll be jailed. Unixmad and Galen and Stefan and stuff were framing me. They knew it was a glitch, but they refused to tell the public that this was a glitch that was being exploited. Instead, they said, Antago's not supposed to be doing anything. And then they started harassing me and telling me I'm corrupt behind the scenes. So I decided to quit, because they were lying about me and they were harassing me, and they told me they're going to shut down my free hosting and they were going to shut Destiny down, which was fine because I could take Destiny and do something else with it. I was like, okay, so we were parting ways. But then that's when Unixmad, again, all this is behind the scenes, but you can read between the lines of the post why this is happening. So I said, hey, you know, this is my stuff. And Unixmad goes, nope, you uploaded it to my server. Destiny's mine now. This is happening behind the scenes. So when they go to upload Destiny to Graal Classic, right? I'm quitting. Like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I'm tired of you accusing me of things. I'm tired of you doing all this horrible stuff to me and lying about me and telling people that they're allowed to cheat and I'm not allowed to jail them when that's literally what I'm supposed to do. And you're calling my game a player world. Like, I'm not a player. I'm a fucking creator. I'm not your player, Unixmad. You know, like, this whole situation is wrong. And when they're moving Destiny over to the other server, Graal Classic, they stripped my administrative power from my game hosting. It started administrating Destiny for me. And that was the weirdest part. So I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm quitting Graal. I'm quitting you know what? I can't argue about you and your lawyers. I'm 13. I can't argue this situation. If you're going to put Destiny on your server, you have access to the files. I can't stop you from doing that, right? In order to be on good terms with you, if there's something you need me to help you with, let me know. But I'm quitting. I'm getting away from this because this is really bad. I feel robbed. I feel completely abused. So I was quitting. This is why in my post you can see that the day that Destiny is being moved to Graal Classic, that I'm quitting and a bunch of stuff is being removed from Destiny, right? So they're now lying and claiming that they own Destiny. And I'm like, I own Destiny. I'm not your player. I'm not just some player. Like, this is my game. I own Destiny. I made this with my fucking hands, my bare hands as a child. I spent years studying how to do this stuff. And I spent like a whole year making this, actively making it, and using resources from before this community and importing my own inspiration. Like, this is my game. I'm leaving. If you're going to, claim that this is yours, I'm leaving. So what they did was they said, well, we're not going to give you your admin access back to your stuff because it's ours now, what they're lying is saying. And so what we will do is we'll call you the graphics admin, though, on the Graal Classic server so that that way you're not entirely salty about the situation. So instead of admitting what's happening and telling everybody that this is my game and that I made it, you can see that I have to tell people myself that I'm the master, I'm the king of this. This is my game. I'm quitting. I'm not happy about this. You can read between the lines in the news posts what's happening. I can't tell people exactly what's happening, but you can see everything that's happening in the news posts that this is what's happening. Just read the post. I'm quitting the same day that like they're uploading it to their Graal Classic server. And Aloran is saying, well, we'll call you the graphics admin if that's some kind of constellation. So instead of telling people that I'm the game master of my own game, they told everybody instead that I was the graphics admin. Which, as a 13-year-old, I felt like it was breadcrumbs. It felt like breadcrumbs to me, like, oh, I guess this is some kind of constellation. And you can see in the post that that's how I felt. I said, I guess supposedly this is happening. I don't know if I'm coming back. Because the real issue is not that, like, I wanted to be an admin. I didn't. Is that they stole my game and they started claiming that Galen's the game master of it now. And that they own it. And they're taking credit for it. And I'm having to, like, pretend to be okay with this. And so they give me this title of graphics admin to make the whole situation, to, like, trick me and make me feel like it's somewhat okay. And so, like, I'm thinking, well, maybe they will give me credit for my stuff. Maybe. And so you can see in the post that even though, like, they made me an admin after they already made the decision to steal the game, it's not my rightful title. My rightful title is I am the owner of this. I am the game master of this. This is my property. They wouldn't give me that title. Instead, they said, we'll call you graphics admin in order to, like, lure me and trick me into staying around. And they wanted me to feel like we will give you credit. Just hang on a little bit longer and keep helping us, right? So all this happened after they already decided to steal the game. Just look at the news post. It's all there for you. Why am I being called graphics admin when it's very clear from these news posts that Destiny had already existed, that it was my game, that I'm the game master of it, and I'm the owner of it, that is from my studio? Why are they calling me the graphics admin on Graal Classic? After they already clearly made a decision behind the scenes to manipulate me and steal the game. July 3rd, I was made graphics admin, and you can see from this post that obviously they had made the decision before July 3rd to take Destiny and put it on Graal Classic against my wishes because I was quitting. I was leaving the community the same fucking day this was happening. And they made me an admin after this. So all these people who are fucking lying to your face and telling you I was some disgruntled admin who made Destiny for them, and this is my heyday, you can see here that this is not the truth. Because a game like that takes like at least a year to make. You're telling me that they made me a graphics admin on July 3rd? And that same day I made an entire fucking game that had a bunch of items that needed to be removed, and then we released it overnight on July 4th? And I'm just a disgruntled admin who made stuff for them? It's impossible. It's impossible. And shame on you fucking people for sitting here and entertaining these disgusting trolls who are defaming me and everybody else. Fucking shame on you. Because read the fucking post and you can see that it doesn't add up. I shouldn't have had to fucking do this for you. And I'm not going to keep doing this for you. Because most of you are dishonest and you're pushing this lie because you don't care if I kill myself or if my life ever fucking gets better. You don't fucking care. You just want my property and you like the fact that they took advantage of children and you get to fucking have fun with it. You like it. You love it. You want more of it. Do the fucking math. Do the fucking math, people. How was I a fucking admin who made Destiny in 8 hours and a 13-year-old employee of a company that wasn't making money? When's the last time you knew a 13-year-old who was working full-time for somebody? At the same time I was quitting, and then made an admin at the same time, a graphics admin at the same time, which it's not even related. How could I be, within 8 hours, you're telling me that I was made graphics admin, decided to quit, and I made an entire game, and then we launched that game within 8 hours, and we had to like strip down a bunch of content? Read the rest of this post. I had to strip down a bunch of content from that. I did all of this in 8 hours. In order for these lies that people are telling about me to be true, I would have had to have done all of this in 8 hours. Overnight, I would have had to stayed up overnight doing this. Over a fucking night. Overnight. You're telling me that I made all of this fucking content overnight and made an admin at the same time, and I was appointed to do this. And that this was my heyday, even though I'm clearly quitting and I'm not happy about this. That I was excited about it. I'm quitting because I was excited about it. It doesn't add up. I made an entire game in fucking 8 hours with so much content that we had to reduce a bunch of it. In 8 hours. At the same time, I was made a graphics admin, which isn't even a fucking levels admin. It's just a graphics admin. I was made a graphics admin. I made a whole game in 8 hours. So big that we had to cut a bunch of stuff out of it. And then launched it. On July 4th in time for fucking fireworks. How the fuck does that even fucking remotely add up? How the fuck does that even fucking remotely add up? I quit and I'm leaving, and I made an admin the same fucking day they're stealing my stuff. I was not an admin who was working for them and I made Destiny for them. I was made an admin after they started stealing Destiny, and you can see that I was quitting because they were stealing my stuff. And they're luring me back with fake titles, bullshit titles like GFX admin. Everything that you're being told about who I am and what was happening is all a fucking lie. I was already leaving the community because they were already stealing Destiny, because the next day they had it planned for Destiny to go onto the main server. And they said, oh, don't disappear. You know, we want it to look normal. So like they made me the GFX admin like the day before that they were stealing my fucking game. How fucking suspect is that? How suspicious is that? Right? A child makes a whole game and says, I'm leaving the community, don't contact me anymore. Oh, but they gave me like an admin title so that like it looks like they're not stealing my game. I'm just an admin. But it's the day that Destiny's being made. You're telling me that like they made me a GFX admin and then I made Destiny for them in one day? I made Destiny for myself. It's a separate game. This is proof. It was my own separate game. It was, and you can see here in the rest of the post that it was, because it says, well, goodbye. I'm telling people, like, I'm trying to get away from this stuff because even though I'm 13 and I don't understand what's happening, my heart feels sad and depressed because I'm being lied and attacked behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, I'm being attacked. You can see it in my tone in the post. I'm saying goodbye. I'm quitting. They're telling me I'm an admin now, whatever that means. You know, Glowtica was supposed to be accessible. They stopped hosting Destiny as a separate fucking game. And now they're launching it the next day. Destiny launched on July 4th, 2000. And I was an admin on my own game. I was not made an admin for Unixmad and Galen and Stefan. I was not working on their game. I was working on my own game. Then they lied and told me that they own Destiny. Okay? I know that I'm being repetitive here, but it's important that you understand that. Because all these lies that people are saying about me is being debunked if you just read through the posts. And so you can tell people that I'm very proud of what I did and that it was very much my own game because I said it will be a part of my continent Destiny. And it wasn't a continent, it was its own game, okay? You got to understand that. Because this is why I'm quitting. You can see I said that I'm leaving. I'm trying to get away, but now they're giving me fake titles. Why would I like upload Destiny to the main server at the same time I'm quitting unless they lied to me and told me that it belonged to them? As a 13-year-old, I believed them because they were threatening me. They were threatening to ruin my life if I were to speak out against it. So my posts are very somber, and I'm pretending to be happy about this. I'm quitting. I'm quitting the community the same day that they're taking Destiny from me. Does that make sense? And I finally was made, and I made an admin the same time that happened. This narrative that I was an admin working for them and that I wanted them to have Destiny as a continent and that I made it for them and that I was just an admin on their server. Would it make sense to you that I was quitting, that I had no admin status, that I made admin status the same day they were taking Destiny, and then I quit at the same time? How does that make any sense? They're luring me back. All of this is like just set up. Who would like... It's getting confusing. Anyway, so I said, goodbye. I'm quitting because they're stealing it. I said, Destiny's removed the following since some of you may be thinking that you hit the jackpot and will get lots of goodies. And what that sentence is referring to is that Destiny was its own game and people could access it. And people remembered a lot of these items, okay? So if people saying that Destiny wasn't its own game, you can see here that it very much was. You can see here that it very much was. Because if you read the post, you can see that not only was I quitting and that I wasn't an admin on the main server, on our Unixmad server, people were playing Destiny as a separate game. Because I said right here, for those of you who think you hit the jackpot with lots of goodies, referring to my own players who were playing my game and who remembered these items, saying that they're now being removed. Why were these items there? And why am I addressing my own players, my own pre-existing player base, if Destiny was not its own game? Why would I be addressing this and telling people, for those of you who hit the jackpot and think you'll get these goodies, why would I be saying that if Destiny was not its own game that people were playing before they stole it? And then if you look at the items, you'll see that it was clearly its own game, right? So it says here, several full hearts are being removed. I had full hearts in there because it was its own game. And they said, well, now that we're putting it on our main server, you need to take those full hearts out because we already have full hearts in our game. So I had my own full hearts because Destiny was its own game. And now they're being removed. That's why these full hearts are being removed, because it was its own game. Bees, bottles, and net. So there was like a bee bottle net catcher. There was like a bee catcher with bottles that you could put the bees in. They said, we don't want that. Take it out of your game. It no longer belongs to you. Get rid of it. So like they're removing all of these items to make it look like it's not its own game. Does that make sense to you? Like, are you seeing this? Like they're pretending that they're not stealing a game here. I'm trying to quit because I'm depressed because they're telling me that my game now belongs to them. And they're removing all of this stuff. Full hearts are being removed because they're stealing my game and saying it now is going to be a continent. So now I'm saying, okay, even though I'm the king and the maker of it, they're saying, well, now it's a continent on our game. I trusted them and they told me that it belonged to them. But that doesn't mean anything, you know? Like they were lying to me. So there was a bee bottle, there was like a bee net and bottles. Number 3, special quote unquote otherworlder weapons and things I put in there. Special otherworlder weapons and things I put in there. So what does otherworlder mean? If Destiny was not its own game, its own world, why do I have otherworlder in quotes on this post? People saying Destiny wasn't its own game. It was just a continent you made for Unixmad as an admin. None of this lines up with anything that people are claiming about me. I quit the same fucking day they started stealing Destiny from me, and we had to remove all of these items. Full hearts, bees, bottles, the net, otherworlder weapons, and other things I put in there. Why are all these items being removed if Destiny wasn't its own game? Why were they there in the first place? How does that happen? If all of this stuff was just made for them, then why is there all this stuff in there that would be part of a separate game being removed? Number 4, my globe. I had a whole thing like my own globe. As an admin, I created a thing called a globe. This is why they have like this map, like cartographer house in Destiny right now. Because I had like this thing called a globe that I carried around and I used it to administrate my game. The globe had like all these magical powers attached to it. It was an NPC I carried. And like they stole that too. They stole my fucking own globe concept and created like a cartographer in Destiny. Do you see how they're mocking the children that they're robbing? How disgusting is that? Like I had my own globe for my own game that I administrated it, that they fucking stole from me. And now they have like a cartographer in Destiny to mock the fact that they fucking stole my game and they're lying about all of it. How sick is that? It's sick and twisted. Number 5, the army tank made by Ish. I had an army tank in Destiny that you could get through through a puzzle. This is a lot of stuff being removed. If Destiny was just a little continent I made as an admin for Unixmad and Galen and them, none of this adds up. You can clearly see that I'm being robbed and that I'm being brainwashed as a 13-year-old. Number 6, and some other things. 7, bugs and other things. So Destiny has added some things. The tower is much harder and better. Ponister, the boss of my tower, does not freeze anymore. Other fixes and decorations. So all of this is very clearly a transitionary process where they're telling me that Destiny isn't your property, Antago. You don't have property rights. You're just a 13-year-old. You uploaded your game. It doesn't belong to you. So I'm quitting. You can see in my post that I'm quitting. I'm leaving the community because I'm being robbed. And then they make me an admin so that the public doesn't see what's happening. They're like, "Oh, we're not robbing Antago. He's an admin now. Look at him. This is a good thing." And I'm removing full hearts, all kinds of items, weapons, my administrative globe NPC as the game owner of Destiny, vehicles, other extra things. And we're fixing bugs and making it harder so that it matches whatever bullshit difficulty level they want for their game. Please tell me how I'm lying about Destiny being its own game. Please tell me how I'm lying about that. And whatever happened to Glowtica? It was on the map, right? Even though it obviously doesn't fit the map. Whatever happened to Glowtica? Why was that never released? Maybe because I kept the fucking files and decided not to give it to them because they kept telling me that if they were able to access my files, that they could do whatever they wanted with it. They were lying about intellectual property rights to me. So why was Glowtica never released? And for people to say, well, Destiny's just a continent, it's just a tiny thing you made as an admin. Why was I made an admin after Destiny was being released on the main server? I was not an admin before it was being released. I was made an admin at the time it was being released. And why are full hearts in there? Why are all kinds of weapons and items in there? Why is my administrative globe in there? Why are there all kinds of stuff in there? Why am I calling myself the king and maker of it if I didn't do this for myself? Why am I quitting Graal, quote unquote Graal, the community, my own community, at the same time this is happening? Why am I being lured back in and being reframed as an admin at the same time this is happening? Why am I addressing my existing player base and telling you, for those of you who think you hit the jackpot, you won't be able to access this on the main world anymore? Why would any of this be happening if I was just an admin who gleefully made stuff for Unixmad and Stefan as a gift and just I knew better? And why am I referring to things as otherworlder weapons? If all of this was just purposefully made for Unixmad and Stefan in the fucking first place, why does Destiny not look like it belongs in the main map? Why does Glowtica not look like it belongs on the main map? Why is Glowtica and Destiny combined a giant landmass that would constitute a separate game? So, I got in trouble for this too. They were screaming at me. These people are thieves, and they were still screaming at me like I owed it to them. It's crazy. So if you go on to July 5th, this is the day after Destiny was released. I had mentioned that you can get the lizard sword. That was removed. I'm going to tell you right now that was immediately removed. It was immediately removed. One of the reasons why there's lizardons and stuff in Destiny is because I had lizards and the lizard sword as a part of my game. And I got in trouble for this. I remember Galen contacted me after this and he said, "Oh my god, the lizard sword is in your fucking game? You got to get that off my main server. You can't be putting that there. You should have fucking told me that." He's screaming at me. And as a kid, I'm just oh shit. I don't want you to be mad at me. So on July 5th, you can see that the lizard sword, you can get the lizard sword. And you haven't been able to get the lizard sword since 1999. But you could get the lizard sword there. How did that slip through the cracks? Because it got removed immediately after this post. How did that slip through the cracks if Destiny was always just a part of Stefan and Unixmad and Galen's, overseeing and and I was an admin making stuff for them? Why was the lizard sword in there? And the lizard sword was power 3 sword, which you haven't been able to get for fucking 20 years. You could get it in my game. They removed it. They removed it after I posted this, but it was still in there. It was literally still in there. There was all kinds of stuff in there. and they were constantly telling me like, this is not your game anymore. You got to get rid of this fucking stuff. And like all kinds of stuff was slipping through the cracks because like I'm like, I don't know what you need me to get rid of because this is my fucking game and you're telling me all of a sudden that it's yours. Like, and they're like mad at me. They're telling me that I'm the one who's doing this. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. This was a separate game and now like you stole it and stuck it in your own fucking game. And I'm getting yelled at because there's things in there that they don't want in there. So like the lizard sword was, and you can see that as a kid, I thought it was completely fine. I'm like, whatever. Like they should have known this. If you're going to steal a game from a kid, you know, and at this time, I believed their lies when they said that they owned it. Then why are there fucking all kinds of stuff that needs to be like removed? And I think it's normal, but then I'm getting yelled at for it. They're yelling at me because they're psychopaths. They're psychopaths. They feel entitled to do whatever they want to people. They're stealing from me. And then they're like telling me like, if there's anything else in there that I need to get rid of, let me know. And I'm like, at the same time, I'm quitting. Like, I'm quitting the community. Like, this stuff is happening behind the scenes. You can see, like, in the news posts, just how fucking, like, disorganized and sad this whole situation is. That I'm quitting at the same time this is happening. They're luring me back with a fake admin title that came after they already decided to steal my game. There's all kind of items that need to be removed. The lizard sword's, like, slipping through the cracks. They ended up removing this after they saw my post. They were like, no, you're getting rid of that. And I'm like, I'm not getting rid of anything because I don't have I didn't even have that kind of admin access. I'm like, you know, well, it's, you know, you claim that it's your game now. You're telling me I don't have rights to it, and you uploaded it to your fucking server because you stole the files, right? Like, at this time, I didn't know that they were stealing. They were just threatening me and telling me not to protest it. And so I'm like, you know, it's your job to go through and remove stuff you don't want. Like, it's not my problem. So like, that got removed, and there's all kinds of bugs because like they're stealing a game that was made by a child. So like Aloran like fake makes me an admin, right? And you can see on July 5th, he's like apologizing on my behalf because they stole my game and it happened to like have bugs in it. It's like, why would you have a whole game with all kinds of items being removed and tons of bugs in it if like this was made by you? And it wasn't made by me as my own game that you're stealing. So he's like, we at Graal Online are very sorry that currently there are a few bugs in Destiny Tower. The main one is that in puzzles, only the first person in can leave the room once the baddies in that room are killed and that player reaches the exit. We will be fixing these levels very soon, and hopefully we'll have fixes up by Friday. And these are like nonsense bugs that like a child would make, right? Like, I made this stuff as a kid for myself, for my own fucking players. Like, the reason that bug even existed is because, like, I was playing it, like, by myself, and, like, I made this, like, for myself. Like, there was, like, a bug where, like, it was made for one person to play, you know? And then, like, I never fixed it when I had people playing it because it was just, like, it was purely, like, a kid project. You know? Like, I just had all kinds of other stuff I was doing that I needed to deal with. And so, like, there's all these weird bugs that, like, how is all this happening? How are there all these bugs, all of these items that shouldn't be in there, like the lizard sword? Why are there all of these full hearts being removed if it was actually, like, made for them? Why are there all kinds of items, again, weapons? Why are they being referred to Otherworlder? Why am I quitting? Why are they now calling me an admin at the same time this is happening? And I'm also quitting at the same time. And then if you look on July 5th again, like, I'm like, hey, guys, we got fixes up, you know, for this content. I said, if you want to hear the MIDI while playing, click here and save it into your Graal Levels MIDIs folder. Why did I have to do that if all of this stuff, like, was their project? Why do I have a separate MIDI file, a sound file, a song that plays in my game if it was made for their game? Why did I have to create a separate link for that and tell them to download this separate MIDI file if this was all just part of like Unixmad's game in the first place? Why did I have my own music for it? And people now have to download it, and it's like all of this stuff is just like falling through the cracks, and people have to like read up and like download it. Thanks so much for listening. Leave a comment below And if you liked the video, please hit like, then click subscribe to stay connected to this channel in the future.